back to the top of the Premier League, clear of the defending champions by a point, courtesy of Kai Havertz. The much maligned £65 million signing has his greatest moment so far in an Arsenal shirt. He scores a last-minute winning goal, paying back a very small percentage of that transfer fee. What he did in those dying moments, I think, is his best skill set. Arriving late into the box, being dangerous in the air. He just needs to learn to be more clinical. I thought the way he was utilized today is exactly how he should be utilized in this Arsenal team. An excellent cross from Bukayo Saka. And Arsenal, there'll be a sense of relief. There's no doubt it. With the away fans over there in Brentford, everybody in North London, and Arsenal fans all around the world. But when you win like this, you win like champions. When you win like this and you persevere and you go through adversity in the games, trials, tribulations, when you actually look fairly stale up front, when there's a dryness to the attack, how are they going to get over the line here? There's no way they're picking up 3 points. How can a team hoping to win the Premier League perform like this? And then you get those moments of magic. And we have seen it over the past 30 years from Pep Guardiola, Klopp, Jose, Conte, Fergie. We've seen it from all of their teams. They just managed to be able to muster up enough quality to win so many of these tight and these close games. Now, there's some individuals to shout out in this. First of all, Kai Havertz gets the winning goal. Must be credited for that. It was difficult. It was an acute angle. Had to head the ball down. He got it between the goalkeeper's legs. And he deserves a lot of credit for that. There's no doubt about it. I thought he came on and he really, not just the goal made an impact, but I kind of felt like he just imposed himself. He was getting involved within a minute or so of getting on. He was running into the channels. He was linking up play. He did very, very well. I want to shout out the two centre-backs tonight for Arsenal. I thought Gabriel and Saliba, again, were absolutely top class. Absolutely top class. Barely a foot put wrong all night. One of the best centre-back pairings in Europe. Arguably the best in the Premier League. And they were just flawless. I also want to shout out Zinchenko as well, who often gets ripped apart for his defensive displays. And that block off the line in the 80-odd minute of the game was so pivotal, because without it, there's no way 3 points come. And again, it's defensive awareness that led to that. His overall performance was good, but that moment there was that's like a goal scorer scoring a goal. It's like a goalkeeper saving a penalty. And then I think I have to shout out who I think was man of the match today. Again, for the umpteenth time this season, Declan Rice. What a performance it was from him. And the word I would use to describe Declan Rice tonight is imperious. You do have that brilliant partnership between Gabriel and Saliba behind him. But they are so well protected, so well shadowed, so well looked after by Declan Rice. He also progresses the ball well. He also maintains possession. And as the game went on and the game got deeper into time, he got more involved in the attack. And he was pivotal to the goal. Just as we saw earlier on today with Gravenberch, where he drove past Rodri, broke the first line that led to Liverpool's equaliser against City. That is what Declan Rice did for their winning goal today. He just starts so much for Arsenal. He's so strong. And there's been so many players that have been purchased for that 90, 95, 100, 105 million pound mark over the past decade who have struggled to live up to that expectation. He is one of the best players in that price bracket I've ever seen, because it's pretty much every single game. The minimum you're getting is a 7.5 out of 10. If not, it's 9s and 10s plus. Sorry, 8s to 9s plus. And it's very early. He's got to maintain this. Of course he does. But another top class performance from Declan Rice. And look, if I was awarding the man of the match, I'd probably give it to Rice. I feel like giving it to Kai Havertz because that was such a clutch pivotal, an integral moment at the end. It really was. And of course, it's the goal, and the goal is what wins you the game. I know it's not a cliche, it's the absolute truth. And I know, but I don't like to often give out man of the match. You remember you used to play FIFA? Maybe the computer game is still the same. Where when I used to play FIFA as a kid, whoever scored the most goals typically got given man of the match. But sometimes the player on the pitch for you that played the best, like the midfielder that was just dominant, never got a mention. So I don't often like to give man of the matches out just for goals. But so Declan Rice for me takes it. But look, it's not the most perfect performance from Arsenal. It's not a performance which I think is going to live long in the memory of Gooners forever and a day. But at the same time, this is just an Arsenal team that I still think has got a gear to go up. This is an Arsenal team that when I look at Martinelli, Saka, Jesus, Odegaard, we all know they can play a lot better than this because we've seen them do it. So as much as I understand if you're a Gooner, you're probably watching this and there's the element of you that's frustrated. Why can't we move the ball faster? Why can't we play quicker? You know, what's wrong with us to a degree? We don't feel like the same team as last season. And I can totally empathize with that thought process. And you're emotional about your club. You're living every moment. You're living every kick. But 60% of the game, 70% of the game, I was lying on my sofa chilling. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. It makes no significant difference to me. So I understand you view it very differently. There is an emotional connection, which I do not and will not ever have to another football club. But they will click into gear at some point. A lot of people have made it out as though Kai Havertz being in your team is what's kind of nullified your attack. Well, there's two things at play today. One, well, that's now been debunked because at the end of the day, Kai Havertz didn't start, and there was still a flatness and a dryness to the attack for large parts of the game. I think what you've also got to factor in, though, is that Brentford are a very hard team to break down. They work exceedingly hard at getting back into shape, and it's difficult to. And I think what's starting to happen to this Arsenal attack at times, and you had a counter attack about 36, 37 minutes into the game, 4 versus 2. Ball gets played through to Saka and it hits his heel. That seemed to happen on not just on counter attacks, but on attacks regularly. You're in a good position. You need one touch out your feet, cross a ball or pass a ball or try through ball, and it gets caught under somebody's feet or it deflects wrong or somebody slips. And I think there's a bit of nervousness that's creeping in. And I believe what these Arsenal players need, they do need criticism at times, but I just think they need support. I just think they need you are going to do it in a minute. Keep your chin up, keep your head up. It's going to come together. Defensively, you're the best in the league. Only 10 goals conceded this season. Ramsdale, he could have ruined that for you tonight on a few occasions, but didn't happen. But you've got the best defense in the league. That is a fact. No one can debate it. You've got one of the best DMs in the league. From a control point of view, you're running games. It is a statistical fact that you allow less progression against you. So you allow less progressive attacking moves against you than any other team in the Premier League. All the data was released on it this week. And if you actually watch with your eyes, Arsenal are very hard to break down themselves. And look, Brentford did a good job on the counter a few times today. There's no doubt about it. But when you compare it to everybody else, every other team is opened up far easier. The attack will click back into gear. There has definitely been a change and an approach to how the manager wants you to play. And I've said it all year. I think you're being more reserved on purpose. I think there'll be a bit of an explosion later on in the season. And I do think you may have a player or two that is slightly out of form, which is natural and normal. People go through peaks and troughs in their career, especially your young players. The Sakas and the Martinellis, yes, they've been around a few years, but they're still babies. In the grand scheme of their careers, they are still what you would call in the fledgling phases. Now, I know there's a lot of Gooners that want it to be perfect and scintillating and amazing every single week. It isn't always going to work like that. Winning the way you did today, it should feel brilliant. I can't tell you how to feel. I won't ever tell you what you should think and feel. But your team is top of the league. You're likely to get a result in the Champions League with midweek, which puts you through to the latter stages of the Champions League. You're top of the tree. And what's really interesting is at the end of last season, the rhetoric was, we will not be top of the league after 10, 11, 12, 13 games next season. We've blown our chance. And here you are back on top again. If that doesn't fill you with confidence, you know you guys can play better attacking football than this. There's proof of that. it's tangible. I think it will click back into gear. And if you do go into the market in January and buy somebody else, that gives you an extra string to your bow. But overall, look, it wasn't vintage Arsenal. Let me rephrase that. It wasn't vintage Wenger Arsenal. But if you're old enough to remember Arsenal before the Arsene Wenger era, 1-0 to the Arsenal is what you were all about. So this is almost like your original heritage, if that makes sense. But it wasn't scintillating, swashbuckling, and amazing. But it's what champions do. They get the job done. And winning it like that will galvanize. Keeping a clean sheet will galvanize. Kai Havertz, you could see there was relief in him. Not like the penalty. That goal will genuinely give him confidence moving forward. Go get your Champions League knockout position taken care of midweek. Go back for your next Premier League game, which I'm not too sure who that is against. We'll check that in a minute. I'm sure you guys in the comments know who you play next. But you sit top of the league, 27 goals scored, only 10 conceded. The joint most amount of wins in the league this season as well on 9. Nobody else has as many as you other than Manchester City, but you're a point ahead of them because they've lost one more game than you.